My name is McLucas and welcome to my Jared Dines How Did That Music YouTuber Get So Big video. Jared joined YouTube in 2010 and since then has amassed 2.3 million subscribers, over 500 million views, and has some of the most consistent growth I've seen from a YouTuber in the last 3 years. This is a guy who has understood how to be relevant, authentic, and smart with the ever-changing platform of YouTube, so let's jump in. The first stage of Jared Dines' career is the early stages where he did covers and figured stuff out. And Jared's channel started off very similar to how I imagine a lot of internet creators who are now big started out back then. He did a lot of covers and playthroughs of popular songs. But what's important with what he was doing is the fact that he was covering relevant music at the time, and that did bring an initial wave of people into the fold, into the Jaredverse. And that brings me to his first point of execution. This is a big point in Jared's videos over the past. He has several videos where he talks about how important execution is. And while I know everybody's path to growth is different, it all starts out with beginning and executing on an initial idea. And he makes a big point of it in this video here. An important factor of it is, of course, that you may not have the best equipment, you may not have the most aesthetic angles, the best camera, the best lighting, the best sound, the best mix, none of that, but it's the fact that you're executing on the idea and you're learning and improving over time. So if you take a look at this video, it definitely does not have the best production value. It's just him probably in his dining room at the time, a couple of chairs, not the best lighting, and it's one stagnant angle, but it's the fact that he's doing it and it did bring in attention, which then started to build that momentum. So not getting hung up on that and just executing is really important. And the important factor here is the fact that he is talented, and at the end, that's what's gonna shine through. He had enough to where you could enjoy the content, but it was the talent that people were coming for, not the fact that it is the most pristine, perfect video angle or the best mix in the world. So with this organic following that has started to come around, he's trialing new video series like Underground Music Monday, and also has a couple informative pieces that do super well, like this and this. And both of those got a really positive response, but there's the turning point, and that takes us to the viral stage, sketch comedy. And of course, I'm talking about the 10 Styles of Metal video that went absolutely viral and got 11 million views, and that's not counting the whole We Are Triumphant thing. This new kind of sketch comedy that Jared popularized on YouTube, especially in the metal niche, became massively popular, and he ran with it. A large portion of his content for a while after that was all in the same vein, and even today, he's doing a lot of videos in that recent style because he clearly loves it. And that brings me to point number 2. Jared's passion lines up perfectly with his niche. When it comes to longevity on YouTube, I've noticed a trend that the YouTubers who seem to truly enjoy the content they're making are the ones that are executing consistently over a long period of time and are building that incredibly loyal base of followers. Of course, the production value and other factors have improved because now they have budgets and they can work on a much higher level, but the voice of Jared's content has stayed incredibly consistent. And when I'm looking at other creators versus Jared, a lot of people do try to make a massive content pivot at one point and lose a fraction or a massive majority of their audience, and that can contribute to them losing relevancy, losing popularity, and losing that steady momentum. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be down to change your content or not change your content to be happy with what you're creating, but it does factor into your popularity, and that's an inevitable fact. So it does help that Jared's voice and his desire to create has stayed consistent over time, creating that really loyal fan base. But beyond that, I think there's one more piece to this puzzle, because there's plenty of creators that have been consistent, done what they love, and stuck to a niche, and haven't had the monstrous growth that Jared has had. And what I think it has to do with is number 3, collaboration, and specifically Shred Wars. And this is the very first tip he gives in his 5 tips to starting on YouTube video. And this is just such a brilliant idea for branding and for finding the exact audience you're looking for in a collab. And there's a lot of things that I love about this style of collaboration, because you have a very simple style video. You're just making riffs, you solo over it, they solo over it, no crazy production, very straightforward. The hardest part is probably making the solo itself, but I mean, he's a man of many solos at this point. So it's a really quick, easy collab to do, which I think is a really important point. And I also love the fact that now he's crossing over into the real world and working with artists like Matt Heafy and Jason Richardson, because when you're on the YouTube platform, working with other YouTubers, there's definitely some crossover within the audiences at that level, but guys like him, you're more likely to get an even larger group of new fans. Hopefully it's talking over the noise. All these people are already fans of heavy music, shred playing, perfect collab situation, brings in a massive wave of people. Routinely doing this specific series has undoubtedly been a great way to bring in new waves of people, and is definitely partially responsible for the reason that graph looks so consistent. Cue the piano music. Cue the piano music. So what have we learned from all of this? There's definitely a few key takeaways I want to condense down for you. The first one being, if you collaborate, make sure it is the right fit. If you're a drum channel, for example, you know, if you could kind of go shred war style and do drum offs, you might want to do a fun video where like you do the kick and cymbals and somebody else says tom and snare and try to do a song that way, or you split up the kit left and right, do something weird and fun, but that's simple, not too crazy, like finding that right fit for a collab and making sure that you're gonna pull in that exact audience you're looking for to grow your channel. Number two is that I think it's important to create stuff that really makes you excited. I know for myself, making these video essays are really enjoyable. I love doing the research, and even though yes, it does take longer to put together all the stuff, it's really enjoyable for myself and fulfilling, and it also resonates really well with my audience because the Finn video has done super well, so I'm gonna keep doing it and take Jared's advice on that. And lastly, I think it's just a fantastic idea to just execute. I know, again, for myself and my experience, I'm starting to get opportunities from video content only because I started executing and figuring it out with the beautiful Stephen Ward, who's behind the camera. And if I didn't take that leap of faith and just say, you know what, we're gonna make it work with what we have and learn along the way, we wouldn't be able to do the things that we're doing now. So executing is my final takeaway from this. So if you liked the video, make sure to smooch your phone, whatever you're listening on, give me a kiss. I need the love. Other than that, if your lips also happened to touch the subscribe button on the phone, that'd be great too. And then just give it a double kiss for the subscribe, for the bell. Smooch up. John's out. That's the ending.